This is the neighborhood, and you are not welcome.
That's why I need to be here.
Stop it. Get some help.
What gender do you think I am?
I would assume you're female.
Yeah, so you're making assumptions.
Yes.
I identify as non-binary.
I don't, respectfully, it doesn't matter.
It does matter.
Now,
actually.
let me ask you this. What pronoun should I use?
You should use they, them pronouns. So you saying that you
And what
don't
if I
believe
don't?
me.
What if I don't?
If you don't, I would consider that disrespectful, and that's actually an act of violence to misgender a trans
It's an act
person,
of
or
violence.
That is an act of violence to intentionally misgender someone, yes.
Here we come to the issue, and this is why I'm out here. You just said that's an act of violence. That means
Yes.
it's an actionable offense. That means it's a crime.
This is basically what the left is trying to do all along. Just by identifying someone by their biological gender is something they consider a crime. To them, the truth doesn't matter anymore. My goodness, does that mean everyone can make their own rules now? What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. As usual, we're back at it with some good content. So, in today's video, you'll find yourself in situations where woke individuals and ideologies got exposed instantly. This video is not created to personally humiliate the individuals featured in this video, but to serve as a form of awareness for the truth. All right, let's get it.
So you've talked a lot about the mental illness and depressed and anxious population in the trans community, but you don't talk about the happy people in the trans community and how these preventative measures of, let's say, like puberty and the surgeries that go for gender affirmation and how these are life-changing and life-saving. I know many people...
How do you know?
Oh, okay. 1 second, if I can finish my conversation.
Okay.
Many people in my life have had these interventions made, and it's saved their lives. I can list dozens of people in my life. So what do you have to say for...
You can list dozens of people who had surgeries and drugs as children and would be dead today if they hadn't?
I'm sorry. Let me rephrase that. Dozens of people who have had interventions, including gender affirming, let's say therapies, yes, hormones, surgeries that have made their lives better. I'm not saying it didn't force them to commit suicide, but it made their lives better. What do you have to say for the happy trans community?
I guess I would throw back at you first, because the burden of proof is on you on this one. And I'll explain why the burden of proof is on you. Because, as I went over in the talk, for thousands of years, human beings existed, and there was no such thing as trying to medically transition people into another gender. And as far as we know, there was no suicide epidemic because of it. And then in the last few years, people like yourself have come along and said, we desperately need to do this, or people will be in despair and they might kill themselves. So you are making a claim that contradicts common sense, science, biology, also the entire experience of the whole history of the human race. And so what that means is that the burden of proof is on you to support it. And so I'm going to ask you, you said that people need this stuff so they can live happier lives and potentially it'd be life-saving, you said even. Aside from your anecdotes of your friends who told you so, how do you know that?
Okay, so thinking back to when I was 16 in an anatomy class, when I learned that transgender people tend to have the brain structure that confirms their identity that they identify with. And you can look that up. That's a fact.
I will look that up.
Yeah, it's a fact.
I will look that up and I won't find it.
Yeah.
It's not a fact. It's not a fact.
Should we all pull out Google really quick and look?
So you're saying a trans man has the brain of a woman?
No. I'm saying that a trans man who identifies as a man will tend to have similar brain structure that a cis man would.
And where did you get that from?
Look it up. It's literally, I'm telling you, I learned it from my anatomy class when I was 16. And I looked up the fact before I walked up here because I knew that you would ask.
Okay. That's not true, but it also doesn't answer the question. So let's try to stay focused on one false claim at a time if we can, because we might get bogged down.
Okay.
So you said, you actually started by saying that blocking puberty, which is chemical castration of a child.
Just one example, yeah.
Yeah, is life-saving.
It can be.
How do you know?
because there are children who have been suicidal that have had these interventions made.
What children? How do you know? And how many children have had that done
Me personally,
and then
I
are
haven't
still
met
suicidal?
children. Me personally, I haven't met enough trans children to answer that question.
Okay.
But I know
You
that
are
the
making-
research exists.
You're making this statement, you're stating it as a fact in front of all these people. There must be a reason, there must be something that you encountered that led you to this rather radical conclusion that to save a child's life, you have to chemically castrate him.
Not every child. No, sir.
Okay, well, that is what you just said. The drugs we give to kids for puberty blockers, so-called puberty blockers, originally are cancer drugs used to treat prostate cancer. They're also used to chemically castrate sex offenders and child rapists. Now we give them to physically healthy kids. You're saying that we need to do that or they will die. And so one last time I'm going to ask you, what evidence do you have of that remarkable claim?
I don't think I claimed that every child would benefit from that.
Well, no, I didn't say you did. You said puberty blockers you said puberty blockers are life-saving. What evidence do you have for that?
They can be.
So
the
how do you
evidence
know?
is the encounters with patients who have had these procedures done, and it has saved their, I don't want to say it saved their lives, but it has made their lives better. I can't confirm whether or not they're alive right this second, but there are children that it has helped. So what do you have to say for the happy trans community who has benefited from these procedures? That's my question
I guess what I have
for
to say is that your entire question is built on a whole stack of false premises that you can't begin to even remotely defend. So it's a faulty question from the start. I reject your premise.
This is what usually happens when someone basically considers their reality based on false and misleading information from the media and people around their circle with the same ideologies. There's not even a single biological evidence that prove that trans men tend to have the brain structure as the opposite sex. To be honest, puberty blockers cannot be life-saving. Studies have confirmed that suicide rates are higher in people who have actually undergone such rigorous treatment. She lied and she got exposed straight up.
My next guest, who is Shivani Dave. She is a journalist and a presenter at Virgin Radio, just down the corridor. Good afternoon to you, Shivani.
Good afternoon, Julia.
Thanks.
You know my pronouns are they, them. How are you doing?
Yeah. Thank you for telling me your pronouns. I use correct grammar. So the only thing I would need to refer you to is to your face would be you. But I'm not being rude. You can choose your pronouns. You can choose what you want to call yourself, but you don't get to require me to use incorrect grammar and factually incorrect things. You're not a plural. You're a one person, and you're a female person. So I will use she and her. Thank you very much.
Do what you like, I guess.
Well, there you are. You didn't need to tell me then, did you?
Maybe I'm just making sure people know in case they're watching and they want to refer to me respectfully.
Is it disrespectful for me to use correct factual grammar?
It's not incorrect or unfactual grammar to use singular they them pronouns for an individual. But we're here to talk about the cast review.
Yeah, but you chose to bring it up.
You chose to use the incorrect pronouns for me.
I chose to use the correct pronouns for a single woman who is appearing on my show.
I'm not a single woman, though. I'm a very special non-binary trans person, as you just pointed out. I
didn't
really
just point that out.
In the crowd.
I didn't just point that out. I introduced you as a journalist and a Virgin Radio presenter.
No, just before I came on, you were talking about how people with all these labels like to be special. And I'm just making sure that everyone knows I'm special.
Okay, I'm not special. I'm just a boring old heterosexual married woman. But, you know, sorry about that. We're not allowed to do that anymore. In fact, that probably does make me special now. I don't know. Anyway, Shivani, we're colleagues, and I obviously want to treat respect. But again, for me, respect works both ways, and that also requires people on both sides to be respectful of people's willingness to not want to tell lies or to be dishonest to themselves. So we'll have to respect each other's views on this.
This is another example where truth becomes offensive and disrespectful. Sure, everyone has the right to identify as anyone, but that doesn't justify the fact that others has to lie in order to fuel your personal feelings. But wait, can anyone tell me, has the meaning of the words they and them changed? All right, let's just leave it at that. Share your thoughts in the comment section. Thank you for watching. Just hit that like and subscribe button on your way out.